Today we're doing two NFL player props here on PrizePicks for Monday Night Football. San Francisco 49ers versus the New York Jets. Before we get started, you guys, link in the description below. Hop into the premium Discord, $9.30 per month, 31 cents per day. That is where I post all the plays I'm making on PrizePicks. We also have other captors in there as well. They post all of their plays. Super positive community. Everyone in there just trying to help each other cash. And I know we missed on both plays Sunday football. Khalil Shakir, we had him over 3.5 receptions. He finished with 3. Josh Allen only threw the ball like 23 times. It was a super weird game. I think Josh Allen had like two pass completions in the first like 20 minutes of the game. And then we had DeAndre Swift over 2.5 reception targets. I don't know what went on there. I think the Bears as a team literally had one target to their running backs all game, and it was to DeAndre Swift. He had one target. So again, bad reads on my part. No excuses here. Looking to bounce back today. 2 plays for this game, Monday Night Football. Link in the description below, you guys, for everything. Premium Discord, all that good stuff. Also, at the end of the video, I'm going to be talking about Daily Grind Fantasy, you guys. It is a research betting platform that I do use every single day. Again, I will be talking about this at the end of the video, taking some plays from that. But let's get into it, you guys. 2 player props, Monday Night Football. I'm looking to bounce back today. You guys go 2-0. Jets, Niners on the road or in San Francisco. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it. The first play I'm looking at is going to be receptions, targets, props. It's going to be Garrett Wilson over 9.5. Really quickly, we take a look at this game. The Jets are going to be 5.5-point underdogs on the road against the team that went to the Super Bowl last season. But we look at Garrett Wilson, right? And last season had very shaky quarterback play, probably the shakiest quarterback play in all of the NFL, debatably. Like when you think about Zach Wilson and Trevor Siemian were his quarterbacks. He went over this in 9 of 17 games. 9 of 17, which to me is a pretty decent hit rate for given the quarterback play that he did have. Right, and if you take a look at Garrett Wilson, he essentially has the 6th most receiving targets over the last 2 years, and he's only been in the league 2 years, which again tells me he's a player that can get open really against any sort of coverage, any sort of defense, and that obviously the quarterback will look for Garrett Wilson. Right, he has literally not played a game with Aaron Rodgers, but we know historically Aaron Rodgers loves to target his alpha 1 wide receivers. And we take a look at some odds here as well. This is again Outlier. There's a link you get a 7-day free trial with Outlier. There's in the description below. But we look at Garrett Wilson, his receptions line over 5.5. He's minus 160, minus 169, minus 166, essentially minus 160 to get us at least 6 catches. And if we take a look here, let me see real quick. Most wide receiver targets last 2 seasons, but if we filter this on StatMuse to Garrett Wilson game log, let's just say last season when he gets 6+ receptions, which again he's favored minus 160 to get 6 tonight, 6+ receptions. Let's see if this will filter for us. Yeah, you can see the targets over this line in every single game that he had at least 6 catches going back to last season. Now he gets Aaron Rodgers, the most accurate and essentially one of the quarterbacks, I think, in my opinion, that loves to feed their alpha 1 wide receivers. There's really no depth behind Garrett Wilson. I think there's Allen Lazard, Mike Williams is going to be there as well, and then Tyler Conklin at tight end. But Garrett Wilson, no question, the alpha 1 wide receiver in this offense, and it's a great matchup, right? It's a terrific matchup. We know the San Francisco 49ers, going back to last season, they gave up the 3rd most total targets to the wide receiver position. Even you go back the year before that in 2022, I think they gave up the top 5 targets to the wide receiver position. Yeah, you can see here 4th most targets to the wide receiver position. It's because their run defense is so good. They love to blitz the quarterback, a lot of short checkdowns and things like that. And obviously the 49ers are a good team, so teams are always trailing, essentially having to throw the ball. We go back to last season, wide receivers game log versus the 49ers with 6+ receptions. I mean, you can see the hit rate for the targets. We saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different wide receivers. This isn't including the playoffs, but 8 different wide receivers, which is a lot. I mean, this is 8 different wide receivers, so this is 8 games worth where wide receivers saw 10+ targets when they caught at least 6+ balls. So, and if we, like I said, we go to Aaron Rodgers lines, which is again something important to look at when you're looking at these target lines. Over 33.5 pass attempts, minus 125, minus 130 on BetMGM. I mean, I could see Aaron Rodgers he's going to throw the ball at least 30 times, and just given the lack of depth at wide receiver, I could see Garrett Wilson easily seeing 10 of those. And then go back to Davante Adams. We go back to Davante Adams back in 2019 when he was the alpha wide receiver with Aaron Rodgers. You can see the hit rate here. I mean, literally over this line, and this is just the regular season. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games. 8 of 12 games he hit the over on this line back in 2019. Davante Adams in 2020 with Aaron Rodgers. You can see the hit rate here as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of 14 games. He hit the over on this line of at least 10 targets. So it's a great spot. We know that the chemistry for Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson, you can see here's the quote: "Our chemistry at the end of training camp was right where it needed to be at. We go up against other teams during joint practices instead of our own defense," which again, their defense is the best in the league. You really get to see where you stack up. Closest thing you'll get to game day before the season. We feel like our chemistry is where it needs to be, and we're excited to go out there and show it on Monday night. Again, great spot. I like him over 9.5 reception targets. I think if this game, I'm not saying this game's going to get out of hand, but if the game script goes as what we're expecting, with the Niners being 5.5 point favorites, I like the over on this one a lot. I mean, we're talking about Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, and Tyler Conklin, Mike Williams. Garrett Wilson, easily the alpha wide receiver in this room, in this receiving core. And like I said, you guys, Garrett Wilson, 6th most targets in the NFL over the last 2 seasons. The second play I'm looking at here is going to be George Kittle. I like his over 10 fantasy score. So George Kittle, he's kind of a home versus away person. We look at last season, he's over this line in 7 of 9 home games, averaging 16.82 fantasy points per game. 7 of 9, averaging 16, almost 17 fantasy points per game at home PPR. Okay, so we obviously know George Kittle, he loves to play at home. I think he just plays better at home, and I think they actually get him involved a little bit more at home. And he's also played very, very well on Monday Night Football in his career. He's over this line in 6 of 8 games on Monday Night Football. Right, an absolute elite hit rate in my opinion for a player that's played in a decent amount of Monday Night Football games, and we know how elite the Jets are in their secondary. Right, we know the Jets secondary is just absolutely elite. Right, Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, they really shut down the side, and that's why you're kind of seeing, there's not a lot of big lines for the 49ers wide receivers. And we look at tight ends PPR game log last season versus the Jets that log at least 3+ receptions. Pretty decent hit rate here as well. We saw 7 different tight ends, go over this line in PPR. But I don't think, and besides Kelce, at the time of these games, none of these guys have kind of the role that Travis Kelce has. And given the injuries with the 49ers, we know Brandon Ayuk, they've said, is not going to be in for, I guess he's not an injured player, but he missed all of training camp. He's not going to be in full workload. And we know the questionable tag that Christian McCaffrey has heading into this game. I think both of those combined with George Kittle's upside at home, his chemistry with Brock Purdy. I like this play a lot at 10. Again, this is 5 catches for 51 yards. It's the over if he scores a touchdown. By any chance, this will easily clear. 6 catches for 41 yards, etc. You guys know PPR fantasy score on PrizePicks. I think this line is perfectly priced, but I definitely think it's the right price on the over here. Just given the snap counts, I think George Kittle, he actually had a pretty good preseason as well. In that final preseason game against the Raiders, he got 3 catches for 4 targets for 34 yards. So in minimal snaps, he had 6.4 fantasy points in the final preseason game when he actually played with Brock Purdy. Again, that was without Ayuk on the field. Obviously, Ayuk's going to play here, but I like George Kittle a lot in this spot. So again, 2 plays for this YouTube video: Garrett Wilson over 9.5 reception targets, George Kittle over 10 fantasy score. Links are in the description below. And I also wanted to share over on Daily Grind Fantasy. Again, if you don't know about Daily Grind, there's a 25% off your first month promo code in the description and link. Hit the link, use the promo code, 25% off your first month. Research betting tool that I use every single day. They basically take all the odds from all the major sports books and give you a percentage odds to hit. They are on underdog, parlay play, better picks, boom. Pretty much every major DFS betting platform that you use, Daily Grind is on there. Like for example, for this game here, if we filter this by NFL, for this game, I believe it's Christian McCaffrey is going to be the highest play on the board. Yeah, it's going to be Christian McCaffrey under 20.5 fantasy score, giving us a 53.6% odds to hit. Because basically, FanDuel, DraftKings, all right, these books don't have fantasy score lines, so they take their rushing yards, rush attempts, rush TDs, reception TDs lines, and they give us a fantasy score line of what essentially it would be. 18.8, it was what it would be on FanDuel, and it's on PrizePicks at 20.5. So again, you guys, link in the description. There is a 25% off your first month for Daily Grind Fantasy. Highly recommend checking it out. But nonetheless, you guys, Garrett Wilson, 99 reception targets, George Kittle over 10 fantasy score. Please drop a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, you guys, and as always, let's cash.